Well, hello, Retro Bro here, giving you two Pokemon Showdown YouTube battles today. I'm actually testing a team that I made for a friend, and it's currently 4 wins out of 5 matches, but I still needed to see if there were some small mistakes I made as far as balancing it from strategy perspective. And man, did I make some mistakes, which I learned when I got queens in these 2 matches. But it's a learning experience, and it actually showcases some of the threats that down the use here for those of you that's not used to this seat. So we begin the match, and I start with Garvantula so I can put out the sticky web, and she starts out with Aggron putting out the stealth rocks. Both pretty standard plays from the both of us. I didn't mind if Garvantula died because I just wanted the sticky web out, and I did some damage with the energy ball. But at this point, I'm going to want to go into my loading so I can go ahead and finish that thing off. At this point, I actually kind of misplayed because though the Scald could take out the Aggron, she does have the Vaporeon, which could have did Water Absorb. Lucky thing for me, I actually remembered and went for the Hidden Power Grass, expected Vaporeon, but instead she went into Jolteon. So overall, we both made smart plays on that move. So I'm going to go into Chestnut here to resist the electricity, and she plays a smart predicting the switch and goes for the T-Wave. I don't want anybody on this team T-Wave, so this is really going to kill me, because Chestnut can't use any of its abilities to set up Toxic or Leaf Seed, with the potential chance of being paralyzed, which sabotages a lot of my strategy with the Chestnut. So she's got to go to Houndoom, and I definitely don't want to fight this thing, so I'm going to go ahead and go to Arcanine for the Flash Fire Absorption, predicting she does a fire attack. But no, she knows the strategy all too well and goes for a Sludge Bomb. Definitely a great part on Dawn's part. At this point, I'm just going to go ahead and attack with the Arcanine because with the Stealth Rocks out, there's really nothing he can do. So I go for the Wild Charge. Get a decent amount of damage off on it. She made the smart move for protecting because she has leftovers on that thing, giving her additional health. Then she switches into the Jolteon to absorb the Wild Charge. Since I'm locked into the move right now, and the Stealth Rocks are on the field, Arcanine's completely at that thing's mercy, because there was no way I could have switched it out without it dying for the Stealth Rocks. So great play indeed, though. Great play. As you can see from this part of the match, this match is actually indeed very one-sided. It was very hard to match up to this team, and I found that some of the main weaknesses to this team that I constructed is the fact that I don't take paralysis too well at all. And now that I think about it, I actually made a very small misplay on my own. I made the mistake of not utilizing Florges properly, because had I used Aromatherapy, I could have actually taken the T-Wave off, giving me a better chance to utilize Chestnut, which with this particular matchup against this team, Chestnut was definitely one of the people that could have won me a game, had I took the paralysis off of him. Funny how you see the hindsight things when you look at matches later versus when you're actually in it, but it was a learning experience. Pretty interesting all in all. So now she goes into the Houndoom. I would love to hit this thing with a Moonblast, and I'm pretty sure I can survive a Sludge Wave. And indeed I did. And luckily for me, the hacks kicked in. So if I give myself time to get a little bit more health with her special attack down, I should be able to survive another Sludge Wave and hit that Houndoom out. She goes into the Vaporeon, and at this point, my Florges is pretty much dead, so I'm going to go ahead and let it go. At this point, I'm considering going into my loaded so I can hit for the hidden power grass. Going to make the smart play, going right into the Jolteon, as expected. However, considering I'm still paralyzed with Chestnut, there's really not much I can do to that Jolteon. And switching into Scrafty, since the Stealth Rocks are down, I'm at the mercy of not being able to use the Focus Sash, so I can't actually set up for the Scrafty sweep. So it's essentially useless against this matchup now that the rocks are on the field. Just another thing I should have considered with this team, by having at least a Rapid Spinner or some form of defogger, which I did not. So I go into my loaded here because I'm never scared of a Noivern, and I'm pretty sure an Ice Beam will one-hit it because it's extremely frail. And it indeed pays off. So she goes back into the Jolteon, and with the little bit of help I have out in the Stealth Rock, there is no reason to switch. She predicted the switch, which to this extent, I'm really not sure why, because with Stealth Rocks on the field and the little bit of help I had, it didn't make any sense for me to switch at all. And at this point in time, I actually make a misplay. I've already shown her to Scald and assumed she would just want to kill off my monster, but no, she switches into the Vaporeon to absorb the water, taking full control and advantage of this and ensuring the match. So now she goes into Florges, and again, there's nothing my loaded can do with this little amount of health, so I'm really only focusing on sacking it right now. If it does little damage at the point, it's good, but there's really nothing I can do with that thing anymore. And at this point, it is good game, because Florges can take out both of these two threats with no problem. Well, in this case, they're not even threats to her, because you got Chestnut that's fighting, and then you got Scrafty, which is Darken fighting, which is 4 damage from the Moonblast. So there's no way either of these two can take on Florges at this point. She wishes for more energy right now. Wasn't really necessary, but ensuring she had the complete amount of energy to take out the Scrafty was still a smart play. Better safe than sorry. At this point, as I said, it's times 4 damage on me. So there's nothing I can really do with the Scrafty. I'm really just going to pick a move and die. And that will be game. Great game, Dawn. You played really smart. And you have an extremely balanced team. Let's see if we can get another match. Test this team against somebody else. See if maybe we get exposed by the same weaknesses, or even if we see any new weaknesses in this team that need to be adjusted. So we have a real interesting team we're looking at here on the other side, and I see they're actually using the Mag Mortar, which is interesting. I wonder if it's the Belly Drum set. So they start with Jinx. Not used to fighting these things, totally threw me off guard, but I still got the Sticky Web off, so it works for me. At this point, I really want to go in with Arcanine because I know Jinx is ice. And it nasty plotted, so I'm definitely glad I went in. The Flare Blitz would have killed it, but to my surprise, it had a Focus Sash. There was no way of me telling that, so it was still a smart play nonetheless. At this point, I'm now worried about a Jinx, which is something I did not expect myself to say, but I have no other way of hitting that thing without getting hit by that really powered up Psychic right now, since the one person that had priority just died, which was Arcanine. I've taken a ton of damage on Florges, which I don't want at all. And Crobat has poison attack, so I'm gonna have to switch in and take a hit with somebody that I don't want to. I'm gonna go ahead and go to my loaded because it's pretty tanky, and I have the Ice Beam on it. So she goes into the Azo here, which is carrying the Thunderbolt. Really not much I can do with that at the time because my loading is weak to Thunder. Chestnut is resistant, but he's also fighting, which can't deal with the Psychic. And unfortunately, Scrafty doesn't take special attacks too well. Plus the Garvantula is asleep, so there's really nothing I can do right now to this Azo that would be considered safe. So I figured I'd just let it go ahead and die. At this point, the thing's almost dead, so I figured I'd just go into Florges. I'm going for the Moonblast to go ahead and destroy it, but what I probably should have did at this point was just went for a Wish. On the other hand, they have both Crobat and Amok on their team, so there's really not much I can do, because now looking at this team in hindsight, one of the other mistakes I've realized I made with making this team is it has a huge weakness to poison. You got both Garvantula and Chestnut that's weak to poison, as well as the Florges. So all three types on this team, which is essentially half the team, is weak to poison. And that's very bad. As a rule, when you make a team, you want to try to cut down your weaknesses as much as possible. And then, if you can, even have different team members that defend against the weaknesses to make a perfectly balanced team. In this case, I made a team that was easy to use for a beginner, but it's also just as easy to lose because of such a misbalances and issues. So after these matches, I'll try to fix it before I submit this team to my friend. But it's really interesting that I just found out that I goofed essentially and made a team that's essentially weak to poison as well as the stealth rocks, and I'll make sure I fix that. So at this point, I'm trying to stall the Muk out, which is the only reason I'm constantly going for Psych or the Spiky Shield. And amazingly, I've gotten lucky because I've gotten it 3 times in a row. So at this point, they go into Crobat, and that's good game because nothing on my team can fight this thing that's alive right now. So they switch into the Quagsire. Not really sure why. I mean, I was completely at their mercy when they were using the Crobat, so there was really no reason to switch at all. This match is honestly over and the person is prolonging it. Really don't know why they would. But to each his own, I guess. So he goes back in the Crobat to go ahead and put me out of my misery. Definitely what should have been done in the first place. So I'm kind of glad because there's nothing I can do at this point, so I'd rather just be wiped off pretty clean at this point. And that will be a good game. Though I got creamed, the importance of this match was to realize the weaknesses I made in the team and the balances issues that happened. Also, to see different sets in Mew and some of those strategies that can be manipulated down here as well. If you like this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And I've been Retro Bro, signing out.